What's up, it's Jen Brown. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you 3 simple and pretty easy ways to take in a skirt. If you're like me and you're a little thinner in the waist and wider in the hip, sometimes finding clothes that fit both areas can be really difficult. But with skirts, those can be a little bit easier to take in than like jeans or something. So I have a few tricks that make this process pretty easy, especially if you are new to sewing. And in a couple of these instances, you probably don't even need a sewing machine. You could just do it by hand. So let's get started with the first one. Okay, please ignore this rainbow colored sheet. I also paint on this desk, so this is just the folded over paint sheet because I'm kind of sewing and painting simultaneously right now. So before we get to this skirt that we're actually gonna do things with, I want to demonstrate these on some skirts that I have already done. I would say most of these methods are not necessarily easier, but they're a little bit more forgiving for pleated skirts because you can kind of hide what you're doing in the pleats. So for this skirt, this is a wool pleated skirt, and I actually could have done a few things for this. If it's something that is a button only or has a little bit of a shorter zipper, honestly, usually my go-to solution is just to move the button over a little bit. And I'm actually hoping that this is going to be the solution we can do with the skirt that I am taking in today. So if I moved this button just maybe like a quarter of an inch or even a half an inch over, it would now be taken in like this. And because of the pleats, that would kind of hide that wrinkle a little bit. But for this skirt, I think I didn't have this color thread at the time, and so I just didn't want to mess with moving the button, so I actually just turned it inside out and took in the waistband a little bit. Now with a pleated skirt like this, you don't really have to worry so much about lining up the seam because this little gap is just kind of like hidden amongst the pleats. So this one you could probably do by hand. All I had to do was make a seam that goes down the width of the waistband, and I could have easily done that by hand if I didn't have a sewing machine. That just makes it fit a little bit more snug to my waist. If you are not going to do this with a pleated skirt, this is a pencil skirt. Okay, whatever, I don't really need to do that button. It has, yeah, it's kind of dark to see that, but this one has seams along the back. And I actually just did the same thing. But made an angled seam so it's wider at the waist. And I sewed in an angle along the same seam so that it would meet up with the seam down here. And that takes it in just a little bit, but goes along with the seam so that you can't see that gap so much. Now my newest tip, I was actually so excited when I figured this out. So this is another pleated skirt. It's another dark one, sorry. But this one is really kind of weird and interesting. The fabric is like, I don't even know. I think it has a really old looking tag on it. And I couldn't find any other info about it. There's no like care tag or anything on it. So the fabric is not porous at all. I wish I knew enough about fabrics of how to describe this, but if it helps at all, these pleats, none of this is like sewn in. The fabric is just folded here, and it's been like chemically treated to look like pleats. So there aren't really any seams, and this one was a little, like quite a bit bigger at the waist, but it was on sale for like $2, and I've been looking for a skirt this color for a really long time. So moving the button wouldn't have worked because I would have had to scoot it like way over here and it would have looked really weird. So what I've done with this is made a faux wrap skirt. Yeah, this is how much I had to take this in. We're focusing, we're focusing. So all I did was that with this is fold the fabric over. I pinched it in here, folded this fabric over, and then added a fake button here. So this is sewn along the edges of the waistband here, and then I just added this pretend button, and it has this extra fold in the skirt so that it looks like a wrap skirt, but really it's not. All right, let's see if this will work. That works for me. I mean, it's not perfect. There's definitely like a little bit of a wrinkle happening, but that's probably gonna be hidden underneath a shirt or a blazer, so this works for me, and it's still, you know, a little roomy and comfortable. It doesn't need to be, you know, like sucked tight to me. And there are a few seams happening if I decide to do something different. So sweet, I got to do the easy fix on this one. So those are just a couple of my tips for how to take in skirts. I hope you found this helpful. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, feel free to subscribe. I post videos 2 to 3 times a month. Thanks so much for watching this one, and I'll see you next time.